No, they'll let me in that club as long as I leave Robyn behind. I can't do that. I've got this whole other side of the family that have decided that they're still a family and we're out.
No, Kody, it's not the others. It's you. They don't like you, the master of scapegoating. Now he's resorting to using his sweet wife as the fall guy because, of course, he could never be the problem. He's out there ranting about how Robyn is hated, classic Kody, never taking a shred of accountability. But honestly, I'm sure she's loving his little narrative. It lets her stay the perpetual victim, always picked on for no reason at all, while Kody gets to keep playing her knight in shining armor. Truly, they're a match made in delusion. And then there's Janelle, casually lounging on the couch, saying no matter what Kody does or doesn't bring, he's still not invited. Seriously, the production team must be over the moon with Kody and Robyn's antics. Oh, and how about Savannah? The daughter Kody barely even managed to squeeze out a happy birthday or Merry Christmas for. And now he's shocked he wasn't invited to her party, classic Kody move. He'll never, ever admit fault. In fact, he outright confessed that he was trying to gaslight everyone into thinking plural marriage worked, because when he finally found his soulmate, he just couldn't stand the thought of being with the others anymore. But instead of being honest about it, he bullied them, financially abused them, and kicked them when they were down, all while he was wrapped up in Robyn's drama. He made the family implode. Robyn's contribution. She was just being Robyn. Christine, Janelle, and Mary aren't jealous of her. They're just rightfully jealous of how Kody treated her like the golden child while leaving them and their kids out in the cold. But yeah, calling Robyn to say, "Congratulations. I'd love to celebrate when you're back in Flagstaff. What would you like to do?" is just too much. Not that Kody would even try, because the Kody whisperer would probably swoop in and ruin it all. The only reason Robyn even plays a role in this mess is because Kody refuses to admit he treated her differently. If he had just been upfront about it from the start, whether it was when they first met or back in Vegas, it would have freed everyone. But no, instead, he kept everyone stuck in his web, and well, look where we are now. I honestly think he uses Robyn as a scapegoat because deep down, he knows he's the one who ruined everything when they left Las Vegas. He won't admit it, though, because if he does, he risks losing her too. But let's be real, he's had to watch the manipulations pile up over the years, and he knows leaving Vegas was his biggest mistake. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Robyn has definitely been the mastermind behind every move since she married Kody, and that big, dramatic move to Las Vegas. Please, it was like a soap opera. The timing was just too convenient. You see, her stepdad Paul was living in Vegas at the time, super close, as we saw on last night's episode. So, naturally, they had to pack up and make that huge life change. Fast forward to today, and suddenly they're picking up and moving again. But this time, it's to a tiny town in Arizona. Just happens to be where Dayton wants to go to college. Convenient, right? Every big move they've made has seemed to benefit Robyn and her kids in some way. It's almost like she's a master manipulator, getting everyone to jump through hoops for some shiny, manufactured reason that always just happens to line up with her agenda. That's no coincidence. She knows exactly what she's doing. Now, onto the big land split question. If her dad was a surveyor, is he the one who suggested how they divided the lots on Coyote Pass? Oh, I'd say probably. Scratch that, most definitely. Even if he's just a surveyor by trade, he's clearly well-versed in land divisions and all the behind-the-scenes tricks. This feels like a well-planned move by Kody and Robyn to claim their little empire. Why not put everything in one name? It's a mini land grab, and everyone else is only questioning it now that the dust has settled. Robyn's always got that it's not about me, it's just for the greater good act down. And then, surprise, surprise, Kody bulldozes right through everyone's objections, and suddenly she's the voice of reason. Oh, Kody, be considerate of everyone. Right, Robyn? Because we're all just here for your carefully crafted version of events. Boy, why did Robyn have to be there for Kody and Mary's divorce? I'm a first-time watcher, but I'm definitely starting to understand the dynamics, thanks to you wonderful Redditors. Anyway, I finally reached the episodes where Kody and Mary get divorced, and honestly, I can barely stomach it. Enter Robyn, standing in the background, crying as Mary nervously signs the divorce papers. It just seems so unnecessary. It makes me think that Robyn and Kody had some behind-the-scenes plan to orchestrate this whole thing. I mean, seriously, why does Robyn always insert herself into everything to do with the other wives? It's like she has to be front and center, controlling the narrative as it unfolds, instead of letting Kody just do his thing in the moment and then having to talk him into whatever she wants afterward. But no, Mary can't even be there to sign the papers with them. Really? I just wish someone would finally sit Robyn down, tie her to a chair if necessary, and force her to explain why she constantly says one thing and then does something completely different. Shy my foot. Honestly, I'm convinced Robyn, aka Cribrows, manipulated both Mary and Kody into making this happen. This whole thing is about her trying to control everything, especially her kids. She couldn't let their dad have his own influence on them, so she had to cut him out, and Kody needed to play the role of dad to keep that control intact. This isn't about anything else. It's all about Robyn controlling the narrative and making sure she's the top wife in Kody's eyes. She's basically turned Kody into a god figure in her kids' lives, so they're terrified of being away from him. And let's be real, she's probably even manipulated her kids into panic attacks just to keep them close, all so she can be the one that matters. Classic Cribrows move. The good old days when Kody couldn't bear to be apart from Solomon for more than a minute in Vegas. Fast forward to Flagstaff, and after a year or two, it's like Solomon disappeared off the face of the earth. Remember that gem Kody dropped at Gwen's engagement party about how Aerie was better than any of his grandkids? Yeah, not a single mention of Solomon. Aerie this, Aerie that, Kody's practically obsessed. I'm sure he'd rather spend 2 days locked in a room with Aerie than have a conversation with Solomon for 5 minutes. And then there's Robyn, who casually mentions how Aerie is just like Kody, and Solomon is just like her, quiet, shy, reserved. Could that be the reason for the total Kody-Solomon disconnect? Solomon's about 14 now, and by age 7 or 8, it looks like Kody and Solomon's relationship became an afterthought. Sure, Kody loves to dote on the little ones who can fawn over him, but Solomon's probably at that age where he's just realizing what a total weirdo his dad is and has zero interest in hanging out with him. Can't say I blame him. It's pretty jarring watching the difference between their time in Vegas versus Flagstaff. Kody usually clings to his kids until they're much older, except, of course, for Truly. And then there's that moment on the Cistern Hole adventure where Kody's treatment of Solomon was just sad. The kid isn't exactly a rough and tumble type like his brothers, and Kody's attitude was as obvious as a neon sign. Now, Robyn may be as quiet as a church mouse, but Solomon's the same, reserved. Maybe it's just his nature, or maybe it's his subtle way of flying under Kody's radar. Either way, the kid knows what's up. In the latest episode, there's Solomon skipping stones with one of his older sisters, totally avoiding any interaction with Kody. And no, I'm not surprised. Let's talk about Kody's parenting style, shall we? It's probably influenced by his own father, who was a piece of work, mentally and physically abusive, and probably not the greatest role model for raising kids. Kody spent his whole life fighting for approval from that guy, which is just tragic. I'm sure Kody wants to raise his sons differently, but his version of different is like a guy who was beaten senseless as a kid thinking, hey, if I don't beat the crap out of them, I'm doing great. His other sons, Gabe and Garrison, tolerated him for years, but once they became adults, they started questioning him, and you can guess how that turned out. As for Robyn, she's clearly all about sheltering her kids, and Solomon's no exception. He's probably protected from Kody's nonsense just like the rest of them. But here's the thing, Solomon's reserved nature, combined with all that overprotectiveness, probably isn't doing him any favors in terms of developing into a resilient adult. Kody may have run out of tricks, so now it's all on Robyn to handle it. Good luck with that. I finally cracked it. What Kody really wanted from his wives, and it's not just money. It's all about his ego and his desperate need for attention. He took each wife's greatest desire, strength, or weakness, and turned it into a tool to manipulate them. With Christine, he wanted her to beg for his affection. He knew she craved feeling wanted and attractive, and he pushed her to the point where she had to chase after his approval. But when she finally had enough and decided to find someone who actually valued her, it drove him crazy. His ego couldn't handle that she didn't crumble the way he expected. The idea that she could walk away, stay gone, find happiness, and not be desperate for him was like a punch to the gut. It shattered his world. With Janelle, it was the same game. He wanted her to beg for his time, to chase him down when he ignored her. After he stormed out of her apartment and gave her the silent treatment, he honestly thought she'd come running. When she didn't, he tried to win her back with a birthday dinner, but she still didn't bite. He kept waiting for her to come crawling back, and it never happened. It was a total failure, and it made him livid. Then there's Mary. He treated her like garbage, giving her endless lists of things to do, hoping she'd beg for his love. But when Mary, after all the abuse, finally walked away, it completely crushed him. She wasn't going to beg for something she deserved, respect and love, that he wasn't willing to give. She was done, and that stung him deeply. Now, Robyn is his favorite. She feeds his ego and showers him with adoration, making him feel like the king of the world. It's not love, it's a transaction. As long as she pampers his fragile ego, and he fuels her obsession with tacky knickknacks, the relationship hums along just fine. When Kody couldn't use money to punish Christine, he turned to Coyote Pass. That land became his bargaining chip, trying to lure Mary and Janelle back into his orbit so they'd grovel and beg. And the more they rejected him, the more bitter and resentful he became. He can't stand the fact that 3 women have finally realized he's not worth the effort, and it eats him up inside. He's the one who isn't good enough, and that's a reality he simply can't accept, so he lashes out at them. This whole mess is a perfect example of how narcissism and toxic masculinity destroy people. Kody's ego is so fragile that he's willing to tear down his wives and even use his kids as pawns to get what he wants. The way he's handled Savannah is a prime example. Ignoring her was a way to force Janelle to talk to him. His comment about not thinking Christine would leave with Truly. Another attempt to manipulate her back into his control. And Mary, well, her having only one child was just another excuse for him to belittle her. You only had one kid, you'd better work harder to earn my affection. It's all about keeping the women in check, making them feel like they're constantly failing. This is the sick, toxic foundation of these cults, based on the idea that women should constantly bend over backwards to appease men. It's not about love or family. It's about feeding the man's ego. Having all those kids, just a way to make the man feel virile, to show off how manly he is. The kids are just props. He doesn't care about raising them. They're only there to stroke his fragile ego. The wives. Their only job is to cater to him and make him feel like royalty. And if the wives turn against each other, even better, because it makes him feel even more special. It's honestly disgusting how deeply this toxic system runs. Usable's heartbreak in that confessional moment is absolutely gut-wrenching. Watching her break down as she reflects on how David is such a present, engaged father to his kids, and hearing her say, "Wouldn't having that kind of dad be nice?" I really want that kind of relationship with my dad, was so incredibly sad. It really hit home just how much she longs for that kind of connection with her own father, a connection that Kody, for all his talk about loyalty, clearly doesn't offer. Meanwhile, Kody, who loves nothing more than pointing fingers and blaming the OG3 for lack of loyalty, is too wrapped up in his own ego to even see the damage he's doing. His favorite line, "The phone goes both ways," seems even more ironic when you realize how he's never made the effort to foster a healthy relationship with his own kids. Meanwhile, David, for all his flaws, is providing Usable with an example of what a good father-figure relationship could look like, and it must sting that much more for her to see something she desperately wants, but can't have with her own dad. It's not just the pain of missing out on that bond. There's a deeper layer to her sadness. Usable knows that if she opens herself up even a little to David, it'll push Kody even further away. And let's be real, Kody doesn't care about relationships unless they're built on his own rules of loyalty and control. Once the kids start gravitating toward David, Kody's not going to take it well. He'll get meaner, more distant, and treat them like they've betrayed him. This young woman is in so much pain, and frankly, she shouldn't be on TV like this. You can feel her heartbreak seeping through the screen. She's dealing with a father who has completely abandoned her and replaced her with new daughters, a mother who's moving in with a guy she barely knows. She's lost and broken, and I hope she has some solid, loving people in her corner to help her find her way. What's even more heartbreaking is that you can tell Usable is starting to develop feelings for David, and that scares her. She's already realizing how different things could have been if Kody had actually been there for her. It's a crushing thought. I was so glad to see Christine reassure Usable that David isn't trying to replace Kody, and that whatever kind of relationship Usable wants with David is entirely up to her. But still, the weight of everything she's carrying is so heavy. Would sister wives even survive without Kody and Robyn? It's a question that gets tossed around a lot. People love to complain about them, but let's be real. Every single thread on every single subreddit somehow circles back to them. If they were kicked off the show, what would we even have left to watch? If TLC actually pulled the plug on them, would the show still hold up? And let's be honest, who really wants to tune into a show about the ex-wives trying to move on and find their own way? We'd be left watching a bunch of awkward conversations about new beginnings and healing while dodging Kody and Robyn-shaped holes in every episode. I'm tired of watching their cringeworthy, "we're so happy together" moments. Seriously, every time I see them act like they're some kind of perfect power couple, it just makes me feel bad for Kody's other kids. I'd much rather see some real growth and accountability from them. Like, imagine if Kody actually went to therapy by himself, really dealt with his past, his mistakes, and his role in all this. Maybe he'd have an epiphany and actually work on rebuilding things with his kids. I'd watch that, but let's face it, that's not going to happen. Kody can't take accountability for anything unless Robyn does too. And well, we all know that's a non-starter. Did Robyn really get the family to move? Of course she did. She didn't even try to hide it. Not even a little. But was it really just to follow Dayton to college? That's what she says, but I've heard other people claim it was to be closer to production. I mean, let's be real, it was probably about those balloon payments. But all the wives seemed pretty intent on staying in Vegas, so who knows? The whole thing just doesn't add up. Flagstaff was more expensive, and they were completely unprepared. It was like when they fled Utah all over again, chaotic and a little ridiculous. So, what exactly pushed them up that mountain? I just rewatched the Where We Go 1, We Go All presentation and the aftermath, and I had two big thoughts. Robyn's acting in that scene. Absolutely cringeworthy. She started off looking concerned with the other wives, all worried about the teens. But it took her, 5 minutes to completely switch teams and start talking about getting the hell out of Dodge. Yeah, real convincing. She specifically said, I can't be away from Dayton, and that he wasn't even looking at schools in Vegas. So whether she knew about the move ahead of time or not, she was clearly on board, and it was obvious before they even decided where they were going that being near Dayton was priority number one. And don't even get me started on Kody and Robyn talking about how Vegas didn't feel like home and how it was never meant to be permanent. What a joke. These were the two most adamant about getting into that cul-de-sac by Christmas to create memories and make it feel like home so they could lure the soon-to-be adult kids back. They were dead set on it. But now? Oh, now it wasn't part of the plan. Yeah, okay. I get that things change, especially for Kody, who seems to think he's some kind of wandering nomad. But pretending like this whole move was part of some grand, long-term plan is absolutely wild. Watching it now with everything I know, it's way more frustrating than I remembered. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.